Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, traders. How are we doing, guys? God bless each and every single one of you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic freaking Friday. As we know, we're going to be covering AMC, Gamestop, as well as the GME warrants today. And I just want to give a little shout out to everyone who liked the last video. If you guys are already new, right, do the same thing. Join the freaking crew. And let's jump straight into the technical analysis because AMC seen a 10% day at one point is up like 12 freaking percent, with the high being 179, and your close on the day right below are really, really important horizontal resistance at 175. We're going to kind of recap what we talked about in our last video and then also talk about where I expect this thing to go next with some promising analysis or DD on the stock, right? But I wanted to start today with the volume profile, right? You know, we're very, very keen on the volume profile in this channel, and you see a lot of stories from the volume profile. It really does tell the story of the direction of the stock, right? Looking at where you were during this consolidative period, volume just creeping down, and you saw a big breakout today, which is phenomenal for the overall upward trajectory, because when we zoom out, traders, not only does it look great on the daily time frame, but your theoretical profit target from this, traders, is insane. It's insane, right? Upwards of 3 freaking schmeckles with horizontal resistance currently at 318. All of that, though, because you rejected 175. And if you fail to hold above 175, it's likely you come back and make this shoulder, head, right shoulder action before looking to creep higher. But one thing is for sure, the stock looks freaking set up on the daily time frame, and you did creep above that horizontal resistance. So what comes next, now that you've made a higher high and the local time frame, right, on the neckline, is theoretically you would then come up to test 194. Now, what is so important about testing 194, traders? Kyle Jones, Only in Paradise, all the OGs. What is so important? It is this, right? You have the opportunity to potentially test your 1 or 200 day EMA for the first time in forever, traders. And the test of this would be the most important test you've had in years, right? Because if you can break above this thing, that is going to be the most significant technical move you've had on AME in over 6 years, right? Because as you zoom out here, you can just watch this purple line, right? And watch the way it abuses AMC stock over and over and over. This was a bearish engulfing candle coming off of this, minus 13%. And the rejections off the 200 are exactly case in point, right? They all look like this disgusting candle. This wick down, this wick down, this rejection, right? And so it's just been the story time and time again that you've not had a bullish golden cross on the stock since February 1st of 2021. That was the most bullish the stock had ever been. And as you saw, right, it ran to all-time highs, you gamma squeezed, and retail revolution was full swing. And you have a unique opportunity now that you've broken this horizontal resistance, or if you break it, it's likely you come for a potential test of 194, traders. And if you fail to break above that, there is a very ugly reality that this thing could potentially double top and come all the way back down. That would be the most disgusting thing I think I've ever seen, right? As there is still a gap fill at 112, not saying that you're guaranteed to fill it, but leaving those technical landmarks oftentimes act as a roadblock on your way up. So we really want to watch and analyze how you come into Monday Open next week. Monday Open is going to be probably the most important day you have had in years, traders. Because if you break this neckline, the test of the 200 is next. And it just genuinely just really gets me excited. Like, just complete transparency. Because if you're able to break this, traders, this will be the most bullish scenario for AMC that you've seen. And as you zoom out, right, let's take a little peeky weeky. As you zoom out, you see the volume profile still going down on the weekly. Although you had back-to-back bullish candles on the weekly, it is likely that you see this come to an end, right? Hopefully next week. Next week could be insane if you see this thing continue to break out here and swing higher. If you reject here, though, what I'd like to see from a bad case scenario sign, even though that'd still be bullish, but if you reject here, I'd like to see the volume. Whoops, that's weird. I'd like to see the volume continue to trickle down here as you retest a key area of 144. Now, if the volume continues to trickle down, it's likely that you find a spring-like action to take you higher and hopefully break 175. The fact that you closed right beneath it is special because that's all we have been talking about on AMC is 175, 175, 175. As you saw, you rejected it perfectly here during earnings, and then you also rejected it here to make that first kind of cup formation before the deep V line. But theoretically, right, now that you've broken clean outside of this bullish consolidation pattern, the trajectory will take you up to $3. Like, that is just the technical analysis done right, pretty much. I mean, it looks beautiful, guys, genuinely. So, what else on AMC? Amy. On the monthly time frame, you are doing the absolute dirty on AMC printing. Not only did you see a double engulfing weekly candle the previous week or the previous month, but you're also seeing a monthly bullish hammer candle, guys. Back-to-back bullish closes on AMC has not happened pretty much ever in the last 6 years, right? Even that one, not bullish at all because you had the bearish engulfing. Not bullish. You really haven't had it, traders, since 2021. So the fact that you were seeing this retail momentum swing into the stock market is freaking beautiful. And I'm hoping, right, because when AMC sees this kind of momentum, you see the big breakouts. You see these swings to the upside. I'm hoping to see the volatility here soon because not only do you have positive monthly closes on AMC, and I'd like to see the volume finish higher, but no guarantees there, right? We have about 3 trading days left. Or no, that might have been the last trading day of May. That was the last trading day of May. That's fascinating. And seeing as though you have a bullish engulfing candle on the quarterly time frame now, it seems like not if, but a matter of when on the macro time frame that you see this MACD cross for the first time since 2021. So you're seeing a lot of different pictures being painted. The main story is the quarterly MACD has not crossed green since 2021, right? You have a lot of similarities in the market. IWM running to all-time highs, the Fed printing more money, a new Fed chair, Gamestop potentially doing some crazy stuff fundamentally, and then AMC looking to do the nasty on the short-term time frame. Not only have you broken free of this channel that's now invalidated, right? So let's just delete that for the time being. Delete the profit target. I just want you guys to focus on this trend line on the weekly. The one that you closed literally a penny above for the first time since all the way, where is it? Yeah, your first time besides for October of 2025, closing above this trend line that has smacked you down ever since the AMC ape conversion. You saw a rejection during the 2024 squeeze, picture perfect wick off, rejection, and then that led to your capitulation. You tapped it on the way back up, rejected, and now you have closed slightly above it on the weekly, closing the month above this macro trend line. I expect a big move to happen if you can confirm next week's candle outside of this, guys. This is genuinely one of the more exciting developments on this chart. As you've seen, just capitulation off of this trend line. Like, you have just been beaten and abused off of this trend line. Breaking above it leads, hopefully, right? Oops, I think I deleted it by accident. Breaking above it hopefully leads to a more macro break on AMC. So I think that's what we got for AMC on the long term, on the short term, right? What are we expecting going into Monday? That's a beautiful hammer candle on the hourly, by the way, off of that rejection, showing that it wants to go higher, bouncing off the 9-day EMA. Wow, 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 wow. There's not a lot of bad things to say about AMC. I can check and see if you have any bearish divergences on TradingView. I don't think you do. Let's just take a quick little peeky weeky, as I know the viewers like to say. Whoops, let's put that back. So this was, in case you're wondering why these vertical lines are abusing your eyes, this is because this is the few times you have ever gotten a cross on the monthly RSI band. You got it here. You got it, I think, here to the downside, right? Yep, here to the downside. You got it here to the upside. So the very few times that you've crossed above it, you see the volatility and the macro swaps, right, or switch that occurs. Cross down, you're bearish. Cross up, fail, you're bearish. If you can successfully cross above this on the monthly time frame, that is going to be just like the golden cross, right? Another key added to the freaking puzzle of why this might be your macro bottom on AMC. Of course, personally, I'd like to see this develop a little bit more on the fundamental side, debt restructuring further, right? Partnering or partnerships. Of course, I'd like to see that, right? But the chart is telling you a very clear story here, and I think it'd be hard to deny that personally. I don't know about you guys, but jumping into, let's see, on the daily time frame, any craziness here? Woo! You are on fire on the daily time frame. Jeez Louise. That looks so good, man. You're so likely to come up to the bull zone on the RSI. It's hard to hate. Crossing above the 50 line on the RSI for the AMC RSI. That is beautiful, man. And this is so often where you see the biggest rejections if I just draw a horizontal stock or horizontal trend line. So just be wary, right, that this is where you've seen a lot of these macro rejections on the RSI, right? Rejected it there, rejection, failed to hold, rejection. Right, just kind of laying my cursor where you see that rejection. That's nasty, right? So just be careful. But if you see the follow through, guys, that's what I so want to kind of focus in on. If you see this follow through on AMC, you're going to see some kind of huge momentum move, just like back here, right? It's kind of just what I expect, based off of the technical confluence of a lot of these different indicators and the amount of oversold you have been. There's so much room to run back up to the upside. So AMC looks great, guys. Just genuinely want to say thank you for all the support in the last couple of videos. Slap the subscribe button if you found it valuable so far, and we'll continue to do our best, right? Our DD. I wanted to jump into Gamestop, though, because Gamestop has equally more technical analysis development in the last couple days. And the first one is, right, you close the gap, which is significant. You close the gap at 21.25 today as you look to potentially break down from this overall falling wedge or bullish channel consolidation. And you did so off of a pretty high volume day on GameStop's part. 6 million shares, although it's significantly less than this, more than you've been trading in, right? So don't love to see it. You closed at 21.18 today, and it's likely if you break down from this channel that you're going to come all the way down to 21.50. Why is that significant, traders? I'm looking at you. That's significant because that would be your third or fourth tap, of this very significant trend line. And every single time you tapped this trend line, guys, you've seen the massive moves prevail. So I'm not worried for GameStop, not even a little bit, because every single time you tap this, 82%, what is this one? 20%. And then this one, full move, is 30%. So although you see the volatility beginning to slow down on GameStop, that is just to be expected. That is a natural occurrence based off of the company's macro moves, right? Whenever you're looking to acquire a company and the indecision or the uncertainty is in the air, I expect you to trade down and to the right. That is because, right, the stock market hates fear, but the only thing it hates more than fear is uncertainty. And you are very, very uncertain on GameStop right now, even though you have Ryan Cohen buying eBay like a madman, right? Whether or not he's able to pull it off is going to be a huge question for shareholders. So going into earnings come up, I believe, in about a week and a half, right? June 10th is what I saw. I can confirm that for you guys. Yeah, June 10th, 2026 is going to be a very big date. I'm hoping for more clarity, but truthfully, guys, on the macro for GameStop, in case you guys are unaware, you are in a make it or break it zone, and theoretically, right, let's say we go down to 20 and we don't bounce, that's not good, right? That is not good, because you have now touched the RSI line, the uptrend that you've been in since 2020. And not a lot of people are covering this on GameStop. I'm sure I'm one of the few. So if that brings you any value, go ahead, like, subscribe. But you had this bounce back 2019, 2020, all the way down into 2024. Now that called your bottom, not just for 2020 before you squeezed. That called your bottom in 2024. Squeeze, and then you tapped it here, made a bullish engulfing on the monthly time frame, and now you're there again, right? This is going to be a key area of either support or resistance, because you also have, at the exact same time, this RSI downtrend that you've been in since December of 2024, right? And so you've seen picture perfect consolidation on the RSI, leading to where you are today. And traders, truthfully, you have 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most months of consolidation. So you should see a huge macro move on GME in the next 90 days. Now, is that financial advice? Absolutely not. But I'm sure a lot of you are licking your chops, licking your lips, looking for some freaking volatility on this dead stock. Like, it has been so barren. 20, 26, 20, 26, 20, 28, 25, yada, 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 right? So I'm hoping to finally see a break of this macro consolidation, and hopefully that is to the upside, right? I think that's what everyone wants, because not only do you have that on the monthly time frame, also on the weekly time frame, you have a very clear, pitch perfect, if you could find a bounce here, inverted head and shoulders, right? Shoulder, head, right shoulder. And from that neckline of about 27 schmeckles, breaking that takes you upwards of $36, guys. Now, not only would you fill the gap at 30, but you would make a technical higher high on the stock, which is bullish, right? That is bullish, especially after all this. If you guys could see GME at $36, I know everyone would be happy. But typically when you break above $30 or $28, you see candles like these, right? 16% candles come smashing into the stock. So I expect some serious volatility if you are able to get above this neckline. Not only would that be very bullish on the macro, but the price would finally leave this long-term, right, ever since June of 2025, almost a year, full calendar year, inverted head and shoulders, where you would finally leave that and you could start the next phase, whatever that is, right? Because you see the rejections that happened at 27 are pretty massive, right? Rejection from 27 all the way down to 10. This rejection from 26 all the way down to 15. Actually, no, that was a bounce, but all the way down to 18, right? Huge swings off of this. And now you've seen it again, right? But what I'm watching on the short-term time frame for GameStop is on the daily time frame. Yes, you got the death cross on the 50-day crossing through the 200. Doesn't look great. And at some point, you're going to test that indicator, right? You're probably going to swing back up. And you might not be successful on your first test of that, right? You might have to consolidate and then swing higher. But one thing is for sure, the daily MACD about to cross green, it gets me jacked. I don't know about you guys, but every single time you cross this, you see pretty nice moves, right? So if you do, in fact, bounce here, I mean, this is an 18% move in 29 days. It's likely that you see another one of those moves, right? So on the daily MACD, let's say you see a bounce here going into Monday. Monday's bullish. You see AMC breakout, GameStop bounce, and IWM see another all-time high. Very, very possible. So that's the bullish case scenario for GME. That's what I'd like to see now that you've filled this gap. I know in our last video we talked about the potential to slightly come beneath here. Everyone's losing their marbles, and then you V-line out. I think that is the most reliably consistent scenario for GameStop because of these gap fills. They fill every single time. Look at this example, right? This one came right back to the gap and then bounced, but you know it does it every single time. This is a very good example, right? Break down, leave the gap, come back to fill the gap, and then reject. This is just another variation of that, trader. So when in doubt, zoom the heck out and regain your bullish sentiment, right? This thing is still in an uptrend. I don't care who you are. Everything else is noise, guys. It's just sound. Right, so let's jump in to the freaking GME warrants for my boy, Only in Paradise. Ew. The GME warrants seen a little bit of a rejection candle here off the 9-day EMA, down 2.84% on a little bit more volume than is accustomed to, right? Because the volume was beyond dry. We're talking hundreds of thousands of shares. And then today was 400,000 shares. So not a lot of volume being dipped here into the GME warrant nacho sauce. But one thing is for sure, you're now at your horizontal resistance. So if you were ever going to bounce, bouncing now would make a lot of sense. Because if you lose, let's move this down. If you lose this trend line of about 317 or 318, it's much more likely that you come down to $3 flat. And we don't want that, right? We want to see this thing double bottom, just like GME, and regain this overall uptrend. Because as long as you are above this uptrend on the price, which has to move around a little bit, that's okay. As long as you're above this uptrend in price that you rejected today, it's very, very likely that you see this thing break this trend, this downsloping resistance, because they all break at some point, unless you go bankrupt, and come all the way back up here to about 540. That is very, very possible, right? And if you take the full move off of the double bottom, theoretically, that profit target is 411, but we know once we break this, we're just going. And that's just the reality of how this freaking GME warrants moves. But just want to keep it on your radar. The potential here to bounce is very high. But let's say you don't. If I could delete this line. This thing is driving me crazy. Aha! Okay, that did nothing. That's terrible. Let's say you don't, right? This is a potential shoulder, head, right shoulder, and breaking that horizontal trend theoretically, right? Just taking the measure from the head to the neckline theoretically takes you down. And that would not be a very good move for the GME warrants. That's your worst case scenario for this stock. Going all the way down to 225 would be the most bearish scenario for the GME warrants. And I would just say do your own due diligence, right? I'm not a financial advisor. But if this happens, right, if you don't see a rebound, let's say something falls through with the deal, I would expect volatility to pick up. So just be careful, guys. But all that to say, GameStop looks fantastic. AMC looks fantastic. I think it's likely that GameStop finds a bounce. I think it's likely that AMC continues to burn the freaking shorts and continues to break out step by step by step until you finally see the candle that everyone's looking for, right? I want to see this kind of candle. 116%. I want to see people get crazy. But I love and appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you do, come back for the next video. Slap the subscribe button, hit the like button, and please, please, please remember, traders, take this with you. The best is yet to come. Much love and peace.